The sun disappears. Not slowly, not in a dramatic explosion. One moment it's there, radiating light and gravity across the solar system, and the next it vanishes, as if deleted from the cosmos. But no one on Earth notices. Not yet. That's because light and gravity travel at a finite speed, exactly 299,792 kilometers per second. It takes approximately 8 minutes and 20 seconds for light to reach Earth from the sun. So if the sun suddenly vanished, we wouldn't know for 8 minutes. For exactly 500 seconds, everything would appear perfectly normal. In the first minute, nothing feels wrong. The sunlight still warms the skin. Shadows still stretch across sidewalks. Solar panels quietly collect energy. Birds chirp. Waves crash. Somewhere, someone blinks against the brightness of a summer sky. It's the same sunlight that left the sun 8 minutes ago. The sun may already be gone, but we are basking in its ghost. At minute 220 seconds, plants continue photosynthesis. The warmth of the sun still fuels the wind and keeps Earth's surface temperate. GPS satellites remain locked in their usual dance. Astronomers glance at the sky and see nothing unusual. By minute 3, maybe someone somewhere notices a strange reading, an instrument showing 0 solar wind, or a telescope reporting an odd spectral reading. But such anomalies are common. They're written off as a sensor glitch. Life goes on. Minute 4, still normal. The moon glows faintly in the daylight, a mirror of the same light that has now ceased to exist at its source. People work, eat, walk, live, utterly unaware that reality has already changed. Minute 5. The illusion holds strong. No flicker, no fading. The light of the sun continues to strike Earth uninterrupted. The gravitational pull from the sun also continues, because gravity, like light, is not instantaneous. It too travels at the speed of light, so Earth remains in orbit. For now. At minute 6, everything continues as usual. But above us, the light is a lie. The warmth is borrowed. We are living in memory. Minute 7. Some scientists may begin to feel that something is wrong. Data is missing. No solar flares, no solar particles. But there's no confirmation yet. Just confusion. No reason to panic. Minute 8. The last minute of sunlight. The final 60 seconds. Each tick of the clock is carrying us closer to a void we cannot imagine. The warmth on your face is older than your latest thought. The light in your eyes left a star that no longer exists. At 8 minutes and 20 seconds, 500 seconds after the disappearance, the moment arrives. Instant darkness. The sun does not fade or dim. It simply vanishes. 1 second the sky is blue and the next it is black. Deep cosmic black, as if the entire sky collapsed. Shadows disappear. The moon ceases to shine. Planets vanish from sight. The world plunges into a surreal, star-strewn night in the middle of the day. All animals pause. The temperature begins to drop, not sharply but noticeably. Panic spreads like fire. Across the globe, people look up in horror. Power grids falter as solar energy dies. Radio telescopes go silent. Astronomers confirm the impossible. The sun is gone. But it's not just the light. With it goes gravity. Earth, which had been tethered to the sun's gravitational pull, now drifts into space. Our planet begins to travel in a straight line, continuing its last orbital direction at about 107,000 kilometers per hour. The planets begin to scatter. The solar system unravels. All of it begins in that first invisible 8-minute countdown. Those 8 minutes are a reminder. Everything we know, everything we depend on, is not instantaneous. The sun's presence, its energy, its grip on us, is always 8 minutes in the past. And if it ever disappears, we'll spend our last 8 minutes in blissful ignorance, until reality catches up. The moment the sun vanishes becomes real at minute 8. The sky goes black, the stars reappear in daylight, and Earth begins a slow but unstoppable transformation. Now begins the second phase of humanity's reckoning, the first hours after realizing that our star, our source of life and gravity, is gone. In the first 10 minutes after the darkness, panic erupts. Phones ring. News breaks. Emergency protocols activate across nations. Scientists scramble to verify the unthinkable. Astronomers confirm with certainty the sun is no longer detectable. No light, no heat, no gravitational influence. The heliosphere begins to collapse. Satellites designed to study the sun go silent. By the first hour, temperatures on Earth start to drop. Not dramatically yet, but the change is real. On average, Earth begins to cool at about 1 degree Celsius every hour. The atmosphere acts as insulation, trapping some heat. Oceans, vast and deep, act as thermal batteries, delaying catastrophic cooling. But the process has begun. Photosynthesis halts. Plants receive no sunlight. Within hours, some begin to shut down metabolic processes. Crop systems in greenhouses with artificial lighting continue, for now. But without solar power, energy grids begin to fail. Solar farms stop producing electricity. Backup generators switch on. Fossil fuel plants are pushed to capacity. Animals react with confusion. Birds roost early, then don't wake. Nocturnal creatures emerge during daytime. Migratory patterns are disrupted. Sea life, sensitive to solar rhythms, begins to lose coordination. Coral reefs sense the absence of light and retract. Human society begins to destabilize. Panic buying clears stores. Governments attempt to issue calm statements, but the shock is global. Religious groups gather to pray. Social media floods with conspiracy theories. Some people riot. Others prepare for the worst. In space, the consequences are even more immediate. Without the sun's gravity, all planets in the solar system begin drifting off their orbits. Earth no longer follows a predictable elliptical path. Instead, it moves in a straight-line tangent to its last orbital point, hurtling into the dark void of interstellar space. The Moon remains in Earth's orbit for now. It too was held by the sun's gravity, but Earth's mass is enough to keep it nearby for a while. Tides continue briefly. But with the loss of sunlight, the Moon is now nearly invisible. Hour 2. The International Space Station confirms what ground stations already know: total solar blackout. Astronauts aboard observe an eternal night. The solar panels on the ISS no longer provide power. Emergency fuel cells take over. Missions are cut short. Hour 3. Cold air masses begin to form. Cities near the equator feel the shift first. The heat of the day is no longer replenished. Skies remain clear but pitch black. The auroras fade. Ionization in the upper atmosphere decreases. By hour 4, global communications begin to degrade. Satellites dependent on solar power or indirect sunlight begin to fail. Space debris, no longer governed by solar gravity, begins to drift unpredictably. NASA and ESA issue joint statements. We are entering an unprecedented era. Governments begin coordinating energy rations. Nuclear plants become central to survival strategies. Nations with large fossil fuel reserves activate emergency plans. But without solar input, even the most robust energy infrastructures are under time pressure. Hour 5. The surface of Earth has dropped approximately 5 degrees Celsius. In some regions, this is survivable. In others, especially polar zones, the risk of hypothermia increases rapidly. Hospitals fill with cases of exposure. Underground shelters and thermal bunkers are activated. Scientists predict Earth will remain livable for a few more weeks, maybe a couple of months, before the average temperature drops below freezing globally. By hour 6, skies remain silent. No sunlight, no sunrise, no sunset. Permanent midnight. Humans feel the psychological toll. Circadian rhythms begin to fracture. People report disorientation, fatigue, anxiety. The question now is no longer, what happened to the sun? It is, what can we do now? In research facilities and underground labs, teams of scientists and engineers begin proposing radical solutions. Subterranean cities, fusion reactors, large-scale artificial lighting systems, even attempts at propulsion to steer Earth toward another star. But one thing is certain, humanity has entered the long night, and the clock is ticking. As the sun vanishes from existence, and the Earth slips past the 8-minute delay of awareness, a chain reaction of cosmic and terrestrial consequences begins to unfold. The 3rd minute after the disappearance has passed, and now humanity is officially living in a universe where the sun no longer exists. Though nothing on the surface appears drastically different just yet, the very structure of our solar system is beginning to unravel. The first major consequence is gravitational. The sun, despite being just another star in the Milky Way, accounts for 99.8% of the mass in our solar system. Its gravitational pull keeps every planet, asteroid, and comet locked into their orbits. With its sudden absence, the gravitational balance that has held for billions of years dissolves. Earth, no longer tethered to the sun, begins to move in a straight line through space, tangential to its former orbit. This change doesn't cause instant chaos on Earth's surface, but it means that our planet is now drifting. Slowly and imperceptibly at first, Earth is leaving the zone of habitability, no longer revolving around a life-giving star. Over time, it will move deeper into the cold void of space, away from any significant heat source. But for now, in these earliest moments, it's like a spacecraft that has suddenly lost its central navigation system, adrift and vulnerable. Meanwhile, in the sky, the stars are unchanged. The moon still orbits the Earth. It's worth noting that the moon's orbit is governed by Earth's gravity, not the sun's. So for now, the moon remains in place. Tides continue, night and day proceed as normal, except now the day has become an artificial concept. We have just entered an endless night. On the human scale, artificial lights remain on, internet and phone signals still work, and daily routines continue. But scientists and astronomers are in immediate crisis mode. Within minutes of detecting the loss of solar radiation, observatories across the globe confirm the impossible. The sun has disappeared, not collapsed into a black hole, not gone supernova, simply vanished. The scientific community scrambles to analyze data, simulate possibilities, and reach out to global governments. Emergency meetings begin, and for the first time in modern history, every government on Earth is facing a unified, undeniable, existential threat. There are no warning signs, no ramp-up to panic, just a quiet, rising terror as the world's leading minds confirm the unimaginable. The media, initially silent, quickly becomes a maelstrom. Some outlets report solar anomalies, others speculate mass power failures. But soon the truth leaks. "The sun is gone" becomes a trending phrase on every platform. In cities, people pour into the streets, looking up at a sky that strangely still glows faintly blue. This is due to Earth's atmosphere scattering remaining light, a ghostly echo of the solar rays that struck it minutes before. On an emotional level, panic sets in. For most people, the gravity of the situation isn't immediately scientific, it's psychological. What does it mean to live in a solar system without a sun? Religious leaders call for prayer. Scientists call for calm. Conspiracy theories explode online. Some say it's an alien attack. Others claim it's the end of times. Fear spreads faster than light. Meanwhile, animals begin to react to the unnatural and unbroken darkness. Birds stop singing. Diurnal creatures retreat into silence. Circadian rhythms, those biological clocks tied to the cycle of light and dark, are thrown into chaos. Plants too respond instantly. Without sunlight, photosynthesis halts. For now, it's not catastrophic, but it's the beginning of a countdown that no life form can escape. Space agencies activate emergency plans. Satellites, previously relying on solar panels, begin switching to backup batteries. Space telescopes point toward the center of the solar system, where nothing now resides. Some detect residual gravitational waves or disturbances in dark matter fields. But no evidence of a solar collapse is found. It's as if the sun has been erased. And this leads to the biggest question of all. How could this have happened? A natural event is ruled out. Even the most violent stellar deaths leave signs, bursts of radiation, debris, collapsing matter. This leaves only two plausible conclusions. Either a new, unknown cosmic force has the power to remove stars from existence without trace, or some intelligence has acted on a scale previously unimagined. For theorists, this is both thrilling and terrifying. If a higher power or an alien intelligence is involved, why the sun? Why now? Are we next? Is Earth simply collateral damage in a larger event? Questions multiply faster than answers. But back on Earth, practical concerns take over. Power grids, agriculture, transportation, all of these systems rely on the assumption that the sun will rise tomorrow. Now, tomorrow has no sunrise. Governments begin organizing emergency broadcasts, rationing plans, and alternative energy initiatives. Nuclear plants and fossil fuels will keep electricity going for a while, but without solar input, crops will fail, temperatures will plummet, and chaos will inevitably grow. Scientists issue projections. In 1 week, the average surface temperature will drop below freezing. In 1 year, it will fall to 73 degrees, 100 degrees. Oceans will begin to freeze. Weather systems will collapse. Ecosystems will die. Humanity has entered a countdown to extinction unless new solutions are found. Yet even now, a glimmer of hope remains in human adaptability. Plans are discussed to build massive underground cities powered by nuclear energy to simulate sunlight and maintain agriculture. Elon Musk's Mars colonization dreams are suddenly urgent. The moon, still orbiting us, is considered for solar reflectors or emergency bases. But all of that is still ahead. For now, the Earth is alone, adrift, cold, in the dark. And for the first time in history, we face a future without the sun. The Earth, now adrift in a cosmos without its central star, begins to feel the full consequences of the sun's disappearance. With each passing hour, the temperature drops. Within a week, the average global temperature dips below freezing. Within a year, Earth becomes a frozen, unrecognizable planet. Its oceans capped in thick ice, its landscapes buried beneath a lifeless white shell. But the descent into cold is not the only change. Without sunlight, the engine that drives Earth's weather systems shuts down. Winds weaken, clouds fade, precipitation slows, then ceases. The water cycle collapses. With no heat to stir the air, the atmosphere stagnates. Storms vanish. The sky becomes eerily still. Earth's once dynamic blue marble is now suspended in blackness, motionless and mute. Plants die quickly. Without photosynthesis, crops wither and forests go silent. This collapse of plant life kicks off a chain reaction. Herbivores starve, then carnivores. Ecosystems unravel, insects vanish, birds fall from the skies. Even in oceans, where some organisms rely on geothermal vents, entire food chains begin to collapse without the sun's energy entering the system at the surface. Humanity retreats underground. The surface becomes too hostile to inhabit. To survive, governments and private enterprises begin constructing subterranean habitats. Massive tunnels, military bunkers, old mines and high-tech research facilities become the last refugees for our species. These underground cities are powered by nuclear fusion and fission, geothermal energy and experimental technology. Artificial lights mimic day and night to preserve mental health. Hydroponic and aeroponic systems attempt to replace agriculture, but resources are limited. Not everyone can be saved. A new era of global politics begins, one no longer shaped by territory, ideology, or religion, but by survival. Countries with access to nuclear energy and underground infrastructure become havens. Others descend into collapse. Wars break out, not for oil or land, but for heat, food, and space. Above ground, Earth continues its journey into space. Unbound from the sun's gravity, our planet travels on a straight vector, headed nowhere in particular. There's no cosmic destination, only a path through the infinite dark. The moon still orbits Earth, held in place by our gravity. It remains a grey sentinel in the sky, though no one sees it anymore. Earth's rotation slows. The lack of solar tidal forces, combined with geophysical shifts, begins altering our planet's internal dynamics. Magnetic fields weaken, auroras disappear, compasses fail. But even in this desolation, human creativity endures. Scientists propose outlandish solutions, building enormous space mirrors to reflect light back to Earth, reigniting the planet's core artificially, or sending massive seed ships to other star systems. Some propose moving Earth itself, attaching propulsion systems the size of continents to gradually steer our frozen planet toward another star over millennia. And amidst this bleak future, there's one more existential question. Is the sun truly gone? Or was it taken? Radio telescopes scan the heavens for answers. SETI programs are revitalized. New forms of communication are explored. Quantum entanglement, gravitational wave signaling, even artificial wormholes. Nothing yields a response. Then, decades later, something changes. Deep in space, a probe launched long ago, Voyager 1, detects a disturbance, a fluctuation in the cosmic background radiation, a message encoded in mathematics, a pattern that defies natural explanation. Some interpret it as a sign, others dismiss it as coincidence. But one thing is clear, the universe is not empty. Whether by intelligence or physics, something has altered our cosmic story. The sun's disappearance was not a death, it was a transition. And Earth is not dead, it is in exile. For some, this is terrifying. For others, it is hope. Because if something can take away a star, perhaps something can give it back. Until then, life continues in the shadows. Humanity becomes a species of darkness, adapting, evolving, surviving beneath the surface of a world that once danced in the light. New myths are born. Children grow up never having seen the sun, only told of its warmth and glow by the last generation who knew it. And one day, long in the future, perhaps Earth will pass near a new star. Perhaps we'll find a way to light the sky again. Perhaps we'll colonize new worlds, or become creatures of space, traveling eternally in search of warmth. Or maybe we'll simply fade, a whisper in the cold. But even then, we will have been something extraordinary. A planet that lived, that loved, that asked questions of the universe. And when the sun vanished, we didn't stop. We kept going. Because in the end, the disappearance of the sun was not the end of Earth. It was the beginning of our search for a new one.